Good afternoon, everybody. We are on day 2 of chopping barley. We finished up 2 quarters already, and we got about 100 loads off for 2 quarters, so really light stuff. We're finally into the heavier stuff. You can really see these swaths are a lot bigger. There's a lot more volume here, and this barley is actually looking really good. You can see there's actually some fill in the kernels, so this silage should be a lot better than the first 2 quarters we did. All that white stuff, that's all barley grain, and that's going to give us a lot more milk. When the barley doesn't fully mature, you're not going to fill those kernels out, and there's going to be a lot less energy in your silage, and that means you're going to have to subsidize the energy in the cow's TMR, total mixed ration, with some other type of grain, and that's really expensive, especially when you can, if you're lucky, grow it in your silage, and then you don't have to buy so much. So it's a really cost-effective way to silage, you know, get as much energy in there as possible and try to buy the least amount of grain. You can't always do that though, it's dependent on the weather. Versatile's doing great for chopping. We were having some issues this morning with the chopper. It was having a bit of a vibration. There still is. We can't really pinpoint where it is because there's so many moving parts in this thing. This chopper is maybe 8 or 9 years old already, and I don't think we replaced that at all. So after that amount of time, it's definitely getting a little bit loose and it's starting to vibrate a little bit. But got a quick break here. The swather broke down. We were actually in a bit of a pea field here, and that's just because our barley field kind of butted right up to this pea field. We seed a little bit of barley in this field, and just for convenience we had to cut a couple acres of peas, so that's what we were doing. And then the swather reel broke, so they went back to the shop. I don't know if another truck is going to show up and get the rest of this swath. We got like 100 yards of swath, but otherwise I'm kind of just stuck out here. Get her going. So typically we won't go too far ahead of the chopper with the swather, but this year some parts are pretty dry, some parts are pretty moist yet, so we were getting a little bit far ahead, but I've already chopped everything. Usually you don't want to go too far ahead though, because otherwise the crop is going to dry out in between the swather and the chopper, so you only ever go like 2 or 3 swaths ahead of the thing. But you guys can see as soon as that swather breaks down, then everything stands still, whereas if you would have cut way far ahead, you know, like 10 or 15, 20 swaths ahead of the chopper, you'd be able to go until that swather was fixed, and it's be a lot more efficient, but it's all about feed quality. So we just backed up far enough from where she's going to start cutting so she doesn't have to dodge me or anything. We'll go check out the farm. Now we'll hitch a ride back with the trucker back to the farm. Since we're not chopping, might as well come out to the pit and check it out. It's looking really good. This is just a little load. So Dima's sitting on the loader. He's pushing up all the silage this year. He did the same thing last year. And it's more complicated than it actually looks, just pushing it up onto a neat pile. It's really important that you're constantly driving back and forth, packing the silage as good as possible. The idea behind that, you're trying to push all the air out of all the silage, and that's gonna make it ferment a lot better, and you're gonna get a lot better quality feed. So even if there's not a ton of loads coming in, you're constantly driving back and forth, packing it down, and kind of squeezing all that air out. And you want to pack every square inch of this pit, so you got to be pretty concentrated and make sure you're doing a good job. This case loader has a ton of torque, so it pushes the silage up the pile really easily. We don't need a big four-wheel drive tractor. This thing's pretty good. The New Holland loader, it's a lot more gutless, doesn't have the torque that this thing does, and it really struggles a lot more to push the silage up. You can really feel the difference between the two loaders. You guys might be wondering what happened to the back of this loader. It's missing the hood. Unfortunately, when we were doing the first cut of alfalfa silage, it got backed into by it, well, the loader backed into a truck, so pretty unfortunate. We got it running again, kind of pressed in some of the exhaust and some other stuff in that engine bay, but nothing that wasn't able to be fixed on time. We'll go hop in there with Dima. It's a pretty nice pile, man. Doing a good job. So we got the duals on the case loader here. We only ever put those on for packing silage. They give you more packing area, so you're able to pack more of this pile at one pass. And it also makes it a lot more stable, so you're way less likely to tip over when you get close to an edge. And that makes packing a lot safer as well. So kind of two uses. All right, the swather's going again. Brent fixed it up. Start following her right away. Right, well guys, today was gonna be the big day. We were gonna put up 100 loads, which we've done before, and I was pushing this thing pretty hard this morning, just trying to keep it fed, go hard, since we finally got a field that's heavy enough. But we just had a pretty big breakdown on the chopper. Something probably went through some metal. This chopper unfortunately does not have a metal detector. I really wish it did. But that's one of the things this chopper at the time didn't come with. If we bought a new one, it definitely would have that metal detector on it. But unfortunately, something just went through, a knife flew out, the whole machine, the chopper, it was vibrating like crazy. It was just a really loud, violent bang that just happened. And we're gonna bring it back to the shop. I texted mechanic Brent. He's probably gonna be at the shop ready. He's driving a truck. And we're gonna have to get this thing going as quickly as possible again. Luckily, we're into some heavier stuff. It's not as dry as the lighter stuff was, so we're not really time crunched. We just would like to keep going for a day and get it done. Every other day we have had a minor breakdown. We've still been able to put up 60-ish loads per day. A good day will be 100 loads. And if you continue to have days that are slow, it just drags the process of chopping so much longer, and it's kind of too bad. So it's supposed to be all knives like here. Bunch just are gone. You can see in the spout here as well. Head up here. So this is the load that I was chopping in when that big mistake happened. So there's gonna be a ton of knives, a ton of chunks of metal in here, and we don't want to put that in the silage pit because otherwise the cows are gonna eat it. So we're just gonna back it into this tree line here and dump it. So he's just kind of braking a little bit, make sure it stays in the tree row as good as he possibly can. So we are gonna have to come back here with a loader, I guess. At least it's out of the way. Oh well. We're gonna go now to where this actually happened in the field because we're missing some parts on the chopper. They probably fell on the ground there. We better go and pick those up because otherwise next year when we're chopping, we're just gonna chop those as well and have the same issue. We wanna make sure we leave the field clean. Well guys, I am off to the city. The chopper is pretty damaged and there's a cutter bar that's also damaged. And that's basically a bar, it's a flat bar, and the knives shear right up close to it and the crop is in between there, and that's what actually cuts it into a bunch of small pieces. Since this piece of metal or whatever went through the chopper, took out a bunch of knives, they probably slammed into that cutter bar, banged it up really bad, and it's not straight anymore. So if we use that same cutter bar, it's gonna do a horrible job cutting. So we need to go and get a new one, and luckily we ordered one a couple days ago and it's in Saskatoon, it's waiting. We get all the parts for this chopper out of Alberta. There's not a dealer for it in Saskatchewan, unfortunately. That's one huge downfall for us running this chopper out here in Saskatchewan. Parts can be a bit of an issue, but luckily we ordered it a couple days ago. It's already in Saskatoon, so I'm on my way to go and pick it up right now. All right, we got a bunch of parts in the box of the truck for the chopper. Just ripping back to the farm right now. There's a lot of construction on this highway. Gotta drive slow. It's pretty tedious. They are making the highway better, so that's cool. Anyway, catch you guys when we're back at the farm. So we're going again. Chopper's doing a really good job. It's eating up a ton of barley. We're pushing loads up pretty good. Million hasn't even had to stop yet once to let us catch up at all over the last 2 hours, so it's going smooth now. Covering the silage pit right now. They already did a whole bunch without me, so I kind of showed up at the perfect time. That's 3 days of silage. You get a couple breakdowns, slows things down quite a bit. Right on, so I got the tires on the top. I only tossed a couple, but I stole Dima's loader here, and I'm gonna put some dirt on the edge of the plastic. We always put tires on the top and then dirt's around the edges where it's on the ground. It's just a lot more secure than tires. Plus you don't have to throw them all by hand, so that's pretty cool. That is the end for day 3. We finally got some plastic on the pile. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.